everybody gay. No, honestly, I'm getting a little sick and tired of being on panels and TikTok, whereby the discussion or topic at hand is still focused on the LGBT crap or fixated around sex and gender. Honestly, it's no shade. You do you and how you run your panels and whatever topic that you want to talk about. But I'm more or less focused on the fact that, like, I've been more or less on this app for 5 some months, 6 years, if you will. And I'm very thankful and appreciative that this account has actually stayed active or alive and not banned for as long as it has, which has now been a year. I've gone through about 7 accounts total of a TikTok. But I just think that there's so many more things to be focused on that pertain to the sovereignty and sort of sanctity of this beautiful country in which I reside, the United States of America. Now, I'm going to word vomit a couple of my own personal theories, and I'm not going to make this too long, but I would love your thoughts, potentially. I personally feel that we are in the midst of an early social cataclysm, a financial reset, and more on a macro scale, a global reset. Not just yet the magnetic pole switch, which is soon to happen, I believe it may be 2046, if you will. That's a guess. I'm more or less referring to Albert Pike and his prophecy for the 3 world wars and how that is fomented by certain agents or agentures of certain secret societies, I believe, that are really pulling the strings upon this new birth of a new world order, maybe, who knows. It's beautiful to see that during this transition into the age of Aquarius, where the age of information or great disclosure event has kind of begun, where a lot of the stuff that I used to talk about in 2010s and thereon, and I was deemed as this schizo crazy person, has now obviously come to light as actual information that is actually correct. I'm talking about the politicians and all that other bullshit with the EFN stuff. But now, some of you that have now been awakened by said information, I do believe it's possible to move forward from that, and that every individual should be prepared for the coming very interesting and beautiful changes ahead. Contrary to popular belief, I really don't actually feed into a lot of these doomsday prophecies. I feel like a lot of those little prophecies or a lot of that is just fear-mongering, loosh harvesting sort of plots or psychological operations that keep the average human in a fear-locked state of frequency and therefore keeping them trapped within their own sort of invisible cage for their perception. I wish there were more spaces on lives in which I might host, actually, in terms of actual discourse when it comes to the bigger issues at hand, like our water crisis that no one really knows about or just cares to even talk about. Water crisis is usually kind of coined with the server farms, data farms, AI, etc., which is quite essentially drinking the lifeblood of the planet with no return on investment. Why aren't we talking about certain invasions of certain religious ideological practices, of a certain type of nationalism that kind of conflicts and dismantles the very which freedom of genuine self that we all kind of love to live by and live under in this beautiful little comfortable blanket of the United States that we have so lived under.